Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. This holiday season, gift yourself the ultimate man's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you're going to find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag. With just this one package, you can align your entire hygiene routine. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is my favorite. It features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Plus, it's waterproof. Go to manscaped.com/Chael. That's going to save you 20% and get you free shipping. That's manscaped.com/Chael for 20% plus free shipping. And be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. I just caught Ariel. I was sitting here and I was watching Ariel's program. Talked about the fact that Jones versus Stipe for December 10th has fallen apart. It must be a slow news day. Or Captain Obvious has been under a rock. I don't really know where this came from. I don't know. It would be very similar if I told you Volkanovski won't be fighting Islam, at least not December 10th. I mean, like, the card's done. But Ariel went a little bit further. I trust that this is my old partner's point. Why? When we heard the rumor, was the rumor true? Was it even accurate information to begin with? And that would be a good starting point because we didn't hear that on all that great of authority. I think Jon Jones had talked about it. I think that somebody went to Stipe's team that confirmed the talk was going. That might not have happened. I got to use the word I think. And I know that the UFC didn't hit this or dangle this. So where did the rumor come from? Very first thing we got to look into, was that true? Were those guys supposed to get matched up? All right. But then Ariel dug into what happened, which was on Stipe's side. Now, again, this is Ariel. I don't know that he had a source. I mean, I don't know that he was quoting Stipe. He had a source that had given him info. Ariel was a little light on it. But he said that the UFC did not come correct with an offer to Stipe. I don't know what to do with that. I don't even know if that's proper English, quite frankly. I've got to really guess what that means. But I will never bite my tongue or spare the lash in telling you my frustration with hearing that. An offer correct to Stipe. Okay, what do you believe the correct way to do this is? And we're not giving Stipe a hard time. Stipe's not the one that said this. But if it was something along these veins, like what do you believe that would be? You got to tell him Jon Jones. I mean, that would just make sense that you tell him the opponent. You've got to tell him the date. For real reason, he's got to get his paperwork done. He's got to get a training camp done. He's got to fly into somewhere at some time. What else would it be that you need to talk about? We know the rounds. That's set by the unified rules. It's not as though this is our first day. We understand that. We know the placement of the card. For goodness sakes, these are 2 stars. We know what the rules are. We know what the weight class is. I mean, we know these things. That would be silly. Could you imagine the UFC calls him up? Says, hey, it's going to be at 265 pounds. We're calling it heavyweight. Could you imagine if they said that? I mean, in all fairness, there's a number of things that you would not say when you're giving an offer and you're coming correct. Now, of course, what that means for Stipe's contract, of course, what the participation is, of course, what the incentive is relevant. But you wouldn't bring it. I wouldn't discuss that with you. Because we have a contract, it's already set. In all fairness, when I called you and offered this fight, I don't, like, if you ask me what you're getting paid for this fight, I don't know. It's 556 guys. I know how to find out. Do I need to call the CFO, pull up your contract? I mean, I can get that information for you, but I don't even know it. What does your contract say? I mean, that's already built in and that's already done. That's all that I'm offering for you. So when somebody says that they didn't come correct with an offer, what are we talking about here? I used to do Submission Underground. I would line up the matches. I went to this jiu-jitsu guy. Big name, great guy. I consider him a friend of mine. And he kept writing me back, send me the details. It was details. That was the word that he used. Send me the details. And I'm going, Gordon Ryan. I retell him the date. And he says, yeah, very interested. Just send over the details. So I, son of a bitch, I send him how long the match is. They were all the same. I send him what the rules were. They were all the same. And he stays on the hook. He writes back and says, send me the details. Well, finally, I understand. The details mean offer. Tell me specifically what you're doing. Now, I got to stop you right there, right? That's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you if I can get you to take on Gordon Ryan, if I can incentivize and dangle something in front of you. I'm not looking for those kind of guys. They're out there, and they're not wrong. I'm not looking for those kind of guys. I have Gordon Ryan. Somebody gets to be his opponent. Somebody gets the attention. I'm offering that seat. I want to know if you want it. The way I asked you the question is exactly the question that I want answered. Do you want to take him on this date? That's a very different question. Do you want to take him on this date for X? Nobody's wrong to ask. I did not have a contract with that guy. He did not know what he was going to be paid. He didn't know how many cornermen would be brought in. He didn't know what hotels they would be at. He didn't know if he was flying first class or coach. He wasn't wrong. He would have been wrong had I had a contract with him that he had already read, he had already signed, and we've done 20 other times. He would have been wrong. You'd be asking me something, say, what does the contract say? Now, I realize that a lot of times this isn't how it works. But I also would like to defend Stipe. I also don't like that the kids on the underground watch the same thing with Errol and got a thread going, and they're turning and acting as though Stipe is being difficult. We don't have that information. Stipe did not say these things. It would be very good news, though, to know, for me, as a fan, why we didn't get Stipe versus Jones. And I say that because we heard from Jon, right? And we understand it. The same guy to do the same thing 3 years ago was saying, no, absolutely not. No, and now he's begging, man, I'm training, I'm ready to go. Like, we understand that position. We don't tease him. We understand that position. What I never did hear was from Stipe. And if Stipe did not jump at that opportunity, I feared that he could be hurt. I feared that he could be sick, right? Illness or injury. And that is very concerning from a standpoint that Stipe has been removed from the sport, well, for 1 year now. Couple of days short of that. Of a year. That's never good. That's never helpful. And then you've got your age and you take some other things, right? There's a tipping point. There's a tipping point where breaks are good. There's a tipping point where it's so bad that when you return, we got to call it a comeback. You've set out X amount of time. We've got to call this a comeback. So there's parts of me that hopes that that is true, that they just didn't feel like the right words were said. Everybody healthy, everybody's happy. Opportunity is missed. That's the way this goes. I mean, everything about this that I'm hearing sounds right. I don't feel like any party did anything different. We have a match. We were going to put you in it, if you would like. The end. Send me the details. Nope. No. That is what I'm asking right there. That's it. That information I just gave you is what I'm calling to get an answer to. Had I wanted an answer to something else, I would have presented something else. So it seems to me like everybody's done what they're supposed to do. Ariel went a step further to say they have now moved on from the idea of Stipe and Jon, and it looks as though there is an attempt to get a match together with Ngannou and Jon, and this is November of next year. Right? I mean, you see the wheels going around, with or without you. I would think if they had a good chance of getting that together, we would get a clarity on a few things. We would then understand that Francis is back. We would understand that Francis's knee is healed, right? Like there'd be other things. There would be byproducts of knowing that that match was put together or even being tentatively scheduled. And as the other heavyweights watch this unfold, none of them have stepped forward and said, it should be me. These guys are not young guys. I mean, Jon Jones went from the youngest champion of all time to the oldest current number one contender in the sport. That's where we're at today. He's not the youngest champion of all time. He's now the oldest number one contender in our sport. Francis, they say, is 36. I'll agree with you that he's at least 36. And Stipe, who's not a spring chicken, has now removed himself for a year, and it looks like a year plus. All the heavyweights, the active ones, they're up training, they're begging for fights. All the heavyweights think it's okay that those three guys go and play over here. Let us know when you're available. Stipe's not going to fight Jon, and Stipe's not going to fight Francis. Who is Stipe going to fight? Now, that is going to be a problem that somebody's going to have to figure out. Thank goodness it's not us.